Hi everyone, I'm Aneta, artist and illustrator. Have you ever stared at a piece and just kept adding, kept fixing, kept overthinking until you don't even know what you're doing anymore? This piece I'm showing you today taught me a huge lesson. Sometimes the need to control every detail is exactly what kills the message. So this video isn't just about simplifying your art. It's about recognizing when the perfectionism takes over your process and learning how to let go before it ruins the thing you're trying to say. This isn't about how to find your style tutorial, but it's connected because a lot of what I've seen online about finding your style feels like a fast food buffet. Go on Pinterest, grab things you like, mash them together, and boom, you have a style. That can be a decent start, but I think some people take it too literally. Though I've been there too. About 6-7 years ago, I was obsessed with the art of Loish, and I started copying her style because she was successful. I thought if I copied the energy, I'd be successful too. Looking back, that was a rookie mistake, but I've learned something valuable. So here's a bit of my story. I've been making art regularly for exactly 10 years. I'm not fully self-taught though, to be honest. I think I am. School didn't give me much, and art has been a part of my life since I was a kid. I worked hard, studied, pushed myself, and despite all of that, I've never monetized my work. Not once. That's a conversation for another day. Today I'm not here to teach you or to give you fast answers. I want to offer maybe a different perspective, a reflection on how you could look at your own art, not how you should, okay? I'll show you my most recent piece, finished just last week. You see it on the screen as I talk. I used watercolors, my super granulating palette, and my Mary gouache, which I prefer because they're affordable here in Italy. You see, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I'm sure some of you are too. That means it's hard for me to just go with the flow without overthinking. But that perfectionism has pushed me to grow. It helped me confront my insecurity, more or less, overcome blocks, and stay committed. After years of practice and a few messy phases, I finally feel I found my niche. For me, it's dark fantasy illustration, moody, but full of color. I'm stepping into the world with a clearer sense of who I am as an artist and what I want to say. Step number 1, find what you love. And it's okay if it's going to be the same subject over and over. If you really stay present with your work, the same subject will evolve. And by same subject, I don't mean one object, but a category. Category. Human figure, trees, clouds, nature, interiors. There are artists out there who paint the same thing their entire careers. I used to judge that. I thought you need to master everything, but that was just perfectionism talking. The truth is, you can paint flowers for 50 years and become a master. Someone might get bored of your work, but who cares what they think? Do you still care? Do your collectors are? Now comes the tricky part. I could talk for hours about composition, shape language, visual rhythm, gestures, storytelling, color, and all of that matters, but it's also overwhelming. So let's bring it down to something simpler. Every image you make is trying to say one thing, one idea. That one thing can be an object, but sometimes it's a feeling, a mood. Objects are easy. You just add them sometimes as your focal point. Mood is trickier. It's abstract. It's subjective. And that's where simplification becomes powerful, because you're not just drawing a thing. You're suggesting an emotion, you're guiding someone into a moment. So, how do you convey that mood? One way can be color, of course, in my case, texture too. That's why I love granulating watercolors. They do things I don't fully control. Ideally, you'd also convey mood through a balance of light and shadow, but sometimes you don't need to render every shadow to get the feeling across. In this piece, I didn't fully develop the lighting, not because I didn't know how, but because it didn't feel necessary. The mood was already there, I think. As artists, we are trained to follow rules, but rules shouldn't silence your intuition. For example, I painted a night sky and I didn't want it full of stars. Not because I couldn't paint them, but because I didn't want people to count them. It's just a figure of speech in this case. I wanted them to feel the vastness of the sky, not to be distracted by the details. So I left a fragment unfinished on purpose, because sometimes what you leave out says just as much as what you put in. Does it make sense? Then there's the tree placed near the center. If it stood perfectly straight, it wouldn't necessarily look bad, but it would feel static. Since everything in the composition is oriented to the right, I let the tree lean in that direction. I knew I'll be adding a female figure with flowing hair, of course, and the lean adds movement. It supports the energy I wanted in the piece. I added bushes on the left, and I'm not fond of them, but okay, I'll have to live with them. Side note for me, work on your bushes. Then came the character. She's small, so I kept her lines clean and readable, not detailed. Her hair became this massive sweeping wave. I wanted to try something different at first, but it didn't feel right shape or story-wise. No matter how much I tried to figure things out, I was overthinking. And that's when I had to remind myself to let go. If it's not coming naturally, then don't force it. So I returned to what felt true. And the dress, I could have gone detailed, but it would have been too much. A new element that didn't fit. Instead, I let the granulating colors bloom naturally. I let them dry and preserve that bloom under the gouache. the medium speaks louder than the details. So yes, this piece might look simple or less detailed than others I've done. It's far from perfect, but it's anything but accidental. It's the result of years of overthinking, reworking, starting over, and finally letting go. Simplifying your work isn't about doing less. It's about doing just enough with intention. The only way to get there is to listen to yourself, to your materials, and to what you really want to say. If that means leaving the sky unfinished or letting colors bloom wild, maybe that's where the real story lives. Thanks so much for spending this time with me. I hope it gave you something to think about, or at least made you feel a little less alone in your process. Until next time, keep creating, and if you can, leave a little space for mystery. Take care.